I came across this clip and it made a lot of sense because I was debating this topic with so many people on the outside. And the question is it racist to want your bloodline and your family lineage to remain the same race? So let me play the clip for y'all.
I don't want to have mixed race kids. I want to have white kids.
That's racist.
Why would it be racist?
Because why don't you?
But is it
because of the color of their skin. That's the only reason you don't want that.
Would it be racist if a black person wanted to get with a black woman so that he could have black kids? Is that racist?
If you wanted to get with a black woman, no. You know,
I want my
you have a
kids to
preference.
look like me. I don't think that's racist. Do you think it's racist?
I do.
Interesting.
Okay. Happy Black History Month. Clock it. I'm gonna keep it real sweet, in a sense, just to make it fair, because people would say, like she said, that for a white person to want their children and grandchildren to be white, but if a black person wants their children and grandchildren to be black, it's not racist. But for a white person to want that their bloodline to be white, it is racist, and I don't think that's fair. If you put yourself in a white person's shoes, like white people all over, I'm sure they would, if they had a preference, they would prefer for their bloodline and their family heritage and their family line to be white and pure. I'm sure they would prefer it that way. However, it don't work like that. You got some people who do mixed races, and they bring in mixed kids, and their grandkids are mixed, and they still love the kids just the same, but if they had a preference, they would have preferred for the kids to be all white. I mean, I do believe that. Secondly, I've had some conversations with some people about this topic, and I had a black person say that they wouldn't want 5 or 10 years from now, 20 years or 30 years from now to be sitting at a table with all of their family, and eventually their bloodline and their race of their family is going to be kind of diminished if the people in their family continue to mate or be with white people. It would eventually take the blackness out of the bloodline, and then they'll be sitting at a table with a family of all white people eventually. Because if you have a child and your child have a child by a white person, and then they child have a child by a white person, that child is going to come out mostly white, depending on how the genes mix. So I can understand why people would want that. However, let's make this personal. To me, please be clear, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. I would not mind dating a white person. I would not mind having white grandchildren, mixed. Mixed. I would not mind having mixed people in my family. I already do have a bunch of mixed people in my family, mixed with Mexican and Puerto Rican and white. I have a bunch of that going on already in my family, and that's just me personally. I can see why people would want it to be like that, especially older people. Mm-hmm. But for me, that's not an issue. The family, your blood is your blood, and your blood don't have a color. And, your family, it being your lineage and your heritage and where you came from and your teachings, blood don't have a race. It's not white or black. Everybody's blood is the same color. So for me, it don't matter. It does not matter. My son is currently dating a white girl, and that's totally fine with me. That's totally fine with me. So,
right.
But I do understand why people do want their bloodline to stay, I guess, one race.
All right. Okay.
So what's your take on it, Leon? Because I got a feeling that you going to take us deep, considering it's Black History Month.
Yeah, I always like to go deep. I feel like when we have these type of conversations, which is when we have, I want to call it like discourse, because racism is something that's deep than what people think. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference, and I feel like a lot of what they were talking about in the clip is really about prejudices and stuff like that, because I think, first of all, we have to understand what racism is. Racism is something that is structural, and it's something that has to do with dominance and oppression, and it's a power dynamic. It's about control, right? So first of all, what we have to get out the way is black people cannot be racist. Black people can be prejudiced.
Okay.
By that, I'm trying to say that we don't have a power behind us to control anything.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So when people say having that conversation right there, I feel like when we have conversations that are deep like that, we need to have somebody with an academic background, or somebody,
Yeah.
somebody deeper than the conversation, because that's just a social conversation. But
Right.
all them conversations that we're having, all the people in that conversation, that ain't really have nothing to do with racism, unless you go deeper to who, because at the end of the day, racism is about control and the people with the resources. So white people, the reason why they are, racism and white supremacy is because they control the resources, so they can stop you from having a job, put you in jail, and really have consequences when it comes to your life. But when it comes to having kids and mixed kids and all, that's really more like a social thing, to where there's going to be some dilution and it's going to have some social dynamics and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the religion of white supremacy really is about, keeping power with the limited, group of people,
Right.
For what it is. So when we go deeper into that, then I say the conversations then, they got to go deeper into what is the consequences of, having, kids from mixed heritage. What
Right.
does that mean in the future? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I like to go deep when it comes to, but I don't want to bore y'all with that. But that's when they were talking, I'm like, what do you mean? Because racism don't even apply to what they saying. It's
Right.
really like a social
So
thing.
basically, the way she perceived it was, he don't want black kids. He don't want none of his grandkids or kids to be mixed, which technically black. And she said that that's racist, because how can you not want your? How can you not? How can you say you don't want your kids or your grandkids to be mixed?
Right. Yeah, I get what he was saying. I feel like, just as far as, if we're going to keep it as far as on a surface level, to like, do you want your kids to be mixed or not? Or is it racist? No, it's not.
Right.
It's not. You can have, if we are to keep it at that level of, it don't really matter. You can have kids with whoever you want to have kids with. You know what I'm saying? But you better realize and recognize, what happens in the future, because other groups weaponize everything.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So sex is weaponized, relationships are weaponized for the betterment of another group. So, we're going to keep it at that. But at a surface level, it don't really matter. Everybody can get down whoever they want to get down.
Yeah.
And historically, it's our people, like what you said, like historically, black folk, we get down, get in relationship with everybody. Other groups, they're not
that's what I
really
was
like
gonna
that.
say.
They tend to stick together, but we tend to be more open
Yeah,
to
we mix with
having
everybody.
relationship. Even our music, it's like certain genres of music. You can't go out to Asia and say you black and claim to be the biggest artists out there. They're not gonna have it, because they got rules and regulations. But we accept everything. That's the name of the game. But that's a whole nother topic altogether.
And another thing to what she was saying was, she think it's racist, but they never said. Did they ever say with black people, mixed with black people, can they be Mexican? Can they be Chinese? Do he really want? Is it a skin? This is how you'll know if he's coming from a racist standpoint. Can you have white kids with an Asian? Okay, so if you would you have a baby with an Asian? Because if you have a baby with an Asian, your child still comes out white. Or would you have or you just don't want to have a child with a black person because you don't want a brown skin or a black baby. So I think that what he was saying was it would be racist if he's just specifically like, no, I just don't want my my kids to have darker skin. Because if he go off and mess with any other race, technically, that should still be racist, right? If he's like, I don't want a mixed kid with none, like I don't want with black, with Chinese, with Spanish, I don't want it mixed at all. I just want it all pure white blood.
Hey man, like I said, that's a deep conversation.
Yeah.
Because even when you have kids with somebody else, like when you talk about Asians, they have a drop of the black gene is dominant.
Yeah, of course.
So so when people go and say black, that really covers everything.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So it's a deep subject that I really don't want to kind of like really be all casual with it. But for the sake of what they talking about, hey man, you can get down whoever you want to get down with. You know, if you're comfortable with that. But I always say like you have to know the consequences of what come with that too. And you have to know you can't just be out here just, you know, the same way. I always say look at the most powerful dominant groups and how they get down. You can see the dynamics, the tactics, and what they do. And then you can see the groups that are on the bottom of the totem, and you can see how they get down, do a comparison, and it's going to give you the game on how you're supposed to move. I'm going to leave it there.
So my question, Manyan, is will you have a baby with the white woman?
No. I can't. I can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it real now, and I'm not hating on nobody, but I can't.
Right. And
No, I
some would say that that's racist.
That, like, again, I'm going to go to the definition of racism. I don't own or control anything structurally, systematically. I can't stop nobody from getting a job. I can't lock nobody up.
Yeah.
I don't even have no power. So if we're going to go deeper into that, I can't. So if somebody call me racist, that's not, you can argue and say that's a prejudice move, but we can talk about it. But as far as racism, it don't even, because racism is systematic. Any ism, racism, sexism, anything with the ism is a power dynamic. So that it ain't even gonna go down like that. But I can't.
Is it any reason why you wouldn't have a child with the white woman?
Yeah.
What would be like the number one main reason?
The number one main reason is this. A white person, a white woman, and they are viewed differently historically. They have advantages both systematically and things that the world views them, because the world is built on a system that works to their advantage. And, you know, and everything is weaponized. We live in this world thinking that everything is honky-dory, but everything is weaponized and systematic. So when you get involved with for me personally, I'm not saying everybody, there's going to be a lot of push and pull as far as, she may have relatives down the line that don't really mess with me. That may not even really, me and her could be cool.
They don't
you know what I'm
agree
saying?
with.
But they may not agree. And now we have a son or we have a daughter that is being pulled, different ways. You know what I'm saying? So that's really how that go. And there's books about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And y'all can look about mixed heritage and the things that go down with that. So that's why I said it's a deep subject, and we can keep digging and go into it, but
it could be deep. It
could be deep. But if you want to keep it at just a casual, hey man, you can get down everybody's, and that's just my own personal opinion. You can get down with whoever you want to get down. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love me a black man, and if I have to choose, it would be a black man. But unfortunately, culturally, black men are not, are not typically family oriented or
don't say that.
Really respectful. Don't get me wrong, it's some very small few, but respectful to black women, or or have the idea of marriage, or value the marriage and the commitment. A lot of black men don't see marriage as being a valuable thing in our community. It is a lot harder to find a black man to marry you versus any other race and culture. Just based off experience, dating other cultures, I've been respected overall as a whole by other race men than black men. So
man,
I've been valued and appreciated more from another race than a black man.
Let me tell you something, and you don't think that's a coincidence? They has been, ever since black people came to this here land, to the new land, since we're talking about black history, it has been something that was studied to make us be productive as slaves and people that were to be used. They saw that we had to be separated. Mm-hmm. So family structure for us has been something that has never been celebrated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even when you go back, even past Jim Crow, the laws that was there, and it was always an agenda to make sure that black women and black men don't get together,
Right.
so we can keep us separated. So
right.
we
and that
are.
was, and that's then. That's then. At what point should a man? Because a lot of women are already doing this, but at what point should a man be able to come out of that and be and try their hardest to be against what the white America, white supremacy, or what they put in our community? At what point should a man say, you know what, I want a wife and I want to take care of my family? Because if a man can see that because now in this generation, men are wanting to be better fathers to their children than their fathers were. So if a man can correct that wrong within themselves, they should be able to correct the same wrong with wanting a family and wanting a wife and having value toward women. Just how they want to, if they want to change the dynamic of being better fathers than they father were, they should also be able to realize that they should want to be better husbands and better, just better men for the woman as well.
Right. So what I'm trying to tell you is, like, it's systematic. When something is systematic, it's multifaceted. There's so many things that go into the pot. So it's just not from an intimate point of view or from a social point of view. It's from an economic point of view, social point of view, educational point of view, and everything. Not go against not go against black women and black men being together. The job structure, if you look into the prison complex system, a lot of dudes was locked up because after slavery, free labor still happened. It was just the dynamic of how it was shown to the masses. A lot of our dudes was like locked up. A lot of people went to war, and right now, economically, it's an agenda to where everybody is changing. Even the women, how y'all view us as men based on the weight that's on our shoulders that was intentionally put on us, and what was given to y'all, and feminism, which is a whole different thing that came in to give independent to women, talking about we could do our bed by ourselves and everything. It's a whole mixed pot, and it's a huge conversation.
But what I'm saying is, what does that have to do with a black man not wanting to get married? What does the systematic, what you're saying systematically, what does that have to do with the black man today not valuing marriage and not respecting black women? Okay, because let me just say this, because I notice I see this a lot. I've seen black men show more respect to other race women than they do black women. I've seen a group of black men kick out black women or a dark-skinned black woman out of a venue, out of a place, out of a room, and chose her over chose a white woman or another race woman over a black woman. I've seen a black man put a black girl out of the front seat of his car to put an Asian girl in the front seat. Put the black woman in the back and put the Asian woman in the front. I've seen this throughout a lot of my lifetime. Okay, so you can say systematically, oh, they did this, they did that. However, if a black man has the willpower to be a better father to his child than his father was, if they want to improve that and want to be a better father for their child, then they can also want to be a better husband than their father was, or a better husband to their wife, or even consider getting married, or even respecting black women as a whole.
Yeah, but
that's something that black men just is not a priority for them at all.
But you gotta understand, for you can want to be a good husband and want to be a good man, but if the woman not really down for that, and because the reason I say systematically, we don't even realize that they are per se invisible hands that are moving the chess pieces so we can go against each other. Because every time, it's like when you go online, there be a whole bunch of material and a whole bunch of content, women talking against black men talking against
That's
black
because
women.
of lack of respect that black women get from the black men.
It come from somewhere. So you got to understand the issue, you have to see to understand the root of it. We just didn't wake up feeling like that. And I understand where you're coming from. I understand your argument. You also a lot of black women did not just wake up feeling greasy about black men, and we also didn't wake up. It was something that was put in the works because originally we're not like that. You know, if you go to the 1800s, we was not moving like that. So if you do your history, like I was saying, you're going to see when the divide happened, and you're going to see laws that were put in place to systematically make us be like that.
But that's not an excuse, because as an individual black man, you can choose. If you can choose to be a better father to your child, you can choose to be a better man to your wife, or and I don't care systematically nothing.
Okay.
Systematically, it teaches fathers not to be before you go. Systematically, it teaches fathers not to be in the household with their kids, not to love their kids, and not to be a part of their kids' life. Right? Systematically, it has.
Right.
However, you have more men now who wants to be active fathers, who wants to be better fathers to their kids than their father was.
Okay, hold up.
So if they're able to correct that part, how come they're not able to correct the marriage and the woman and respecting the woman?
All right, so we're going to skip the systematic part. Let's take it to an individual level, right? If I'm dealing with a woman who don't respect me as a man, who don't understand my position as a man, and she is damn near a dictator, and she's moving on some weird energy or whatever, and you can say that, how am I supposed to be a man? If you just tell me like, no, if you just tell a dude, these are the rules. If you don't do this, you're not going to have access to your kid, or you're not going to do this, and you're doing this. Is a man really then supposed to just move accordingly? That's not going to happen at the end. So what I'm trying to say is, from an individual level, those same dynamics apply. That's why we have so much antagonism, to where it's like, it's not a lot of that when you look at other races. So when you look at other groups of people, when you look at the Asian community, when you look at the Mexican community, to be specific, and the Asian, the Indian community, when you look at their dynamics, yes, they have divorce rates. Yes, they have misunderstandings between men and women. That's going to happen. But the rate of disrespect and the rate of fatherless kids is more ripe in our community because of a reason, because it was an agenda that was put into place.
Okay, question for you. Are you currently dating to marry? Are you dating to marry? Do you want to be, are you currently dating, going out on dates, meeting women to find a wife or to have a wife?
I'm not currently on dates, but if I'm going on a date.
Are you currently dating for marriage, to marry? Are you currently
I'm not dating, period, right now.
Okay, so if you were, would you be currently actively dating somebody to eventually find your wife?
Of course.
And that's off the rip.
To find a partner.
To find your wife.
They gotta earn it. But yes, that's a loaded question to me. That's not a yes or no question, because I can't be going out here like I'm finding a wife. I'm finding a lifelong
partner. Do you want
partner.
to be married?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. But I'm not gonna be married to the wrong person just because I want to get married now. I gotta be smart. That's how a lot of brothers get caught up in the gang, and that's why a lot of stuff happens out here. And that's why even it's that's why I say it's deeper than that, because it's not the men, it's not the women. It's just like we got to start moving differently as a whole. Mm-hmm. It's not a black man thing, it's not a black woman thing, it's a community thing. Black History Month, we got to start getting back to what really matters. And we could take a leaf out of these groups, how they move. Certain groups of people, you see how they move, there's a huge accountability. They move together, they marry within, and everything is kind of...
They're taught to marry from a young age. You know, culturally, they're taught to marry. That's why I said what I said.
We was taught. I'm African.
Well, you African. Black, as far as Black American.
Black Americans were taught to marry too.
No, that's not a part of our culture. That's not a part of what we do. It's something that we should be doing. Now. It's something that we should be doing, but it's not something that's common in our community.
Right now. It's not common right now.
Or then, you know, it's been, or then, you know, I can say in the 50s, 60s, maybe. However, you know, it hasn't been common in the Black community for quite some time now. That's why I said what I said about, you know, being open to dating other races, because culturally they're required to marriage, and typically, you know, they know what they want when it comes to finding a wife and having a wife. They're more likely to marry than a black man, and that's statistics.
Right. You know, we could.
That's why I said what I said. But let's get into some of the comments, my young. It can and it can't be racist. It's all about the intentions intense behavior of their language behind it, and overall motive with hidden agendas. Yes, two biracial people make what bloodline? Two biracial people, it is like, I think it's like a 50-50 chance if you do the math on that. If you have 25% of African American blood, according to the U.S. Census, you're considered black, period. Absolutely. Yes, you are. That is true. It's all about white American feeling inferior to blacks when they stress the importance of keeping their bloodline completely white. Yes, and I do know a lot of them would prefer for their bloodline to be
Shout out
pure.
to Dr. Franz Cresswell out of Chicago.
Yes,
She breaks
yes.
that down.
Let's see. The light bulb has to click in their own lives outside of themselves wanting to follow the masses. Should be yourself and follow that what God tells you versus the world. The Willie Lynch letter, right, okay. But you have to know the history of the race in the breakdown. Absolutely. How many of those men are on child support or denied privilege to have any custody of their child?
Yeah,
Some
man,
have
Karanji.
arranged marriages. Yes, most of them do have arranged marriages. Those tend to be the ones that work. That's not a part of your history. The policy of relationships are too contingent on a get back instead of sincerity. I can agree with that. Let's talk about it. Who is this? What is that? Christara Owens. Yes. Let's talk about it. Give us a call, 469-796.
Shout out to the comment section, y'all.
6719. We appreciate y'all comments all the time. Okay, shout out to Black History Month once again.
Once
Munyon.
again,
You
we
wanna-
serious this
Yeah,
week, right?
I mean, this,
Damn, we got deep up in this room right here,
we've
man.
been going for a while on that one topic, y'all. Let us know what y'all think if y'all want to call in. But Munyon gonna take us in the next topic. We got some live viewers too, so we may have some
Hey,
people
shout outs to y'all.
in the studio chiming in on some of this stuff too. So Munyon, go ahead and take us.
I can. What's the next? What's the next topic?
We
I
got
can't even
another
see,
topic.
man. We get them
Is
comments
there
off of there.
anything you want to chime in on in the studio audience? Anything you want to?
We got live studio audience.
How y'all doing? Can you hear me?
Man.
All right. Yo, this is Adrian.
Okay.
First of all, shout out to the free conversation that you guys are having.
Yes.
And we should afford each other that. We should be able to communicate in that manner, express our differences, which makes us us. I agree with both of you because at the end of the day, the one thing that we share in common is, again, we've been at the receiving end at everything. So it's very easy for us to look at each other as, oh, this person is doing me wrong.
Right.
And then maybe setting unnecessary, well, I wouldn't say unnecessary, unrealistic expectations because you have to take note of how we got there in the first place. So, shout out to my boy Munya about the systematic background and connotations behind racism. And as well, the black women has been on the receiving end of that as well because the black man has had to be taken out the black family. And now you're feeling like you have to take care of everybody else and everything else. But how is the man now going to look after you when all the resources are taken away from him? Or, better yet, they put him away for like 25 because he was trying to feed his family. You know, so I think it's a good idea. I think it's really good. I like this platform. Keep it going. And it's important for us to express each other the way that you guys have set the tone. To everybody who's watching, you know what? Don't be afraid to express yourself, and our differences complement each other.
Absolutely.
And we are going to be better for that.
Yes.
And happy Black History Month to everybody. And shout out to my African kings as well.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, because that's where it stems from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Shout
Happy
out. Shout
Black
outs to my
History
dude.
Month.
Hey, man. Shout outs to my dude. Hey.
Right here in the studio
And
audience.
right here in the studio audience.
We are
what
working.
the comment section saying.
We are
though.
working. We see everybody in the comments. We appreciate the love and the support always. Definitely, if y'all want to chime in, call us at the number on the screen.
And I want to say, you know, these conversations, just so I'm clear, I understand when women talk like what you're saying. I really understand it because I empathize with that because at the end of the day, it's like a lot of things happen as far as our situation in our community. And the black woman is like, I'm at the receiving end, because at the end of the day, y'all want leaders, and y'all supposed to have kids by us, and everything is supposed to happen how it's supposed to happen. But then y'all don't have leaders. So it's only natural for you to look elsewhere, like, okay,
Literally.
where, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a dig to say black women are the problem. It's just a dynamic to where they really understood, because a lot of these situations were really carefully thought out. We just think it happened by chance. That if we take away this dynamic, then y'all like, okay, but what can I do? You're locked up for 20 years. I'm supposed to, by the time you come out, I'm gonna be 70. I gotta look for somebody else, and
left
I'm
with
looking after
nothing.
the kids.
Right. So
Right?
we don't want to be put in a position, like, don't get me wrong, I feel like black women love black men. We do. It's just in our nature.
No, we love each
It's
other,
just in
for
our
real.
nature, but we are not trying to be left without nothing. You know, we're not trying to be left without trying to lead this world without properly being loved and appreciated and valued, whether if that's from a white man or any other race man. I've seen Precious, she
What, the movie?
yes, the big girl
Yeah.
who's not so attractive. She's really she's dark skinned, and she went out and interviewed and said that she had to go where she was wanted, because she was not wanted in the black community amongst black men. There was no black man who would accept her a black man's standard of beauty was not her. She's big, she's black, she's ugly. So she had to go where she would be valued, and she now is married with a white man who loves her. And everybody understood that, because in the black community, even in the African community,
Of course.
Somebody like Precious is not the standard of beauty,
So
and she would not be accepted as attractive or desirable
And you were
in
right.
the black community. So she had to go where she was going to be accepted
And you were right.
and loved. And I feel her.
Okay, so I understand that.
I feel her.
But this is, I will circle back to the same. Where you think us as African people, where do you think we learned how to liken beauty to European features? Where do you think we get how to liken beauty to somebody who light skinned? Where do you think we get that from? We wasn't
And
born
that's
like
in
that.
Africa?
Huh?
And that's in Africa?
Where do Africa get it from?
America. I would assume.
No,
shit,
this
'cause
is-
in
they get-
Africa, I would
so-
think the Africans like the African women.
So let me tell you something. This is why I say.
But they
why-
don't. They like the American women.
So this is what I'm telling you, right? Even in Africa, not even in Africa, not in Africa alone. In Asia, dark-skinned women, dark-skinned caste groups are on the lower part of the totem than lighter skin in Asia and all other places. This is because the dynamic of beauty is dictated by white people. They're the ones with the magazines. They're the ones that control the media, that control the narrative, that if you were this, the brown bag test that they had out here.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it come from somewhere. So when I say systematic, it's like right now, my judgments and everything right now, I could talk about it from a surface level, but it come from somewhere. So I'm always saying we have to understand, and I'm not trying to blame black women. I'm not trying to blame black men.
And I hope you're not trying to blame the system. Because you keep saying systematic. At some point, it's time to break that systematic shit. You know, this shit's been going on for 100 years. That shit's happened a long time ago. You should not still be systematically programmed as a grown-ass 50-year-old man.
So
you should be able to say, hey, this is what the system done, but you know what? We're going to go. I ain't trying to say start no movie, but I'm as an individual, I'm going to go against what the system has set up to fail us as a black family, because I'm aware that the system has set it up for me to fail as a black man and as a black husband and as a black father. I'm going to go against that, and I'm going to be better than what the system has set for me. I'm going to go against that. So this ain't got shit to do with the system and everything to do with me. I'm going to be a damn good husband. I'm going to be a good father, and I'm going to be a good black man, and I'm going to respect black women. It ain't got nothing to do with what the system taught you how to do.
So let me tell you why it got everything to do with the system. This has been going on for hundreds of years.
So at what point will you break it? At what point will you as an individual be able to say, you know what, I'm not going to follow what the system gave me?
This is exactly what I'm going to do. Me and you are married, and I'm not following the system, and I tell you, hey, look, this is how it's going to go down, and you say that's not how it's going to go down, you call the police, I ain't did nothing, they see me, big black man, and they're going to throw my ass into prison, and I'm facing the system. That's really what it is. A black man cannot really, you can't really make things go down how they want to go, because these are things that have been, a lot of behavior that is in our community come from the feminist movement, a lot of subjugation that went on. So we are a product of so many generations. I'm African, but I speak a lot of English from when I was born, because being African don't really matter. We are controlled over there because I have to have a European education. You know what I'm saying? So that don't really matter, because what really matter is what the system say. That's why they say white supremacy is like a religion, because it don't matter where you come from, but you want to come over here, you want to be competitive on the stock market, in relationships, in jobs. You have to play this game. You have to be qualified. You have to have this. That's why we always circle back to the system, because it's not down to an individual. Because if you want to get married, you're going to have to go get a license. You're going to have to go do this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying?
And the system is designed for the black man to fail. I get that. But at what point as a black man do you overcome that? At what point as a black man do you say, I'm going to defeat this shit? I'm going to make more money. I am going to get married. I'm going to be there for my kids. I'm going to take them. I'm not going to create a broken household. I'm not going to sleep with this woman, and have kids everywhere. I'm going to marry somebody. And you saying, oh, well, if she called the police and y'all get into an argument, well, what if she don't? What if she is a good woman who's there to take care of you and who's there to do what you're supposed to do? As a man, as a black man, it's still going to be systematically programmed to you to systematically go sleep around with other women, and systematically still go out and club, drink, and systematically still want to feel entitled to certain things from a woman when you not even doing your role as a man.
But how am I gonna get more money if historically the resources are
don't say that. Ain't no historically, ain't no systematically. It is black men out here who are winning.
What do you mean? We don't own nothing, Wanda. You know that?
If they don't own it, it is a plethora of black men out here who are multimillionaires. How they did it, I don't know, but they did it. They didn't let the system hold them back. They didn't let the system stop them from moving forward or becoming a husband and a damn good father. Name what? A black man. I can pull up 100 of them on the internet right now that's married to black women who's respecting their husband. These are millionaires. These are men who has beat the system, overcame the system in every area, from being a father, from being a husband, and from being a black man, a multi-million-dollar rich black man, successful black man.
Let me tell you,
the system did not leave them.
Now, if you look deep into those relationships, the woman was prepared to do what she's supposed to do to that man, and that man made money, and he loved black women, and he got married to the right black woman, because the only person that gonna be in a relationship with a black man is a woman that want to be in a relationship with a black man.
What I'm saying is, to your point of this systematic stuff, the system ain't set up for you to win. You can't win how, and the system is working against me, and the system. There are plenty of men who are not letting that same system stop them from moving forward and getting ahead and being good husbands and being good fathers and being good black men. Point blank, period. So blaming it on the system ain't gonna get you nowhere. It's gonna keep you right where you at. Blaming it on the system ain't gonna help these black men become better fathers, better husbands, better men in general, financially, spiritually, emotionally. Blaming it on the system ain't gonna do it. We know what the system did. We know what it created. However, now is the time as black men and women to stand against the damn system and do what you need to do as an individual. Take care of yourself and your family and have better morals, a better mindset as an individual.
I got one last thing that I want to ask, and then I ain't got nothing else to say on the subject. So who fault you think it is?
It's each man. It's your fault. We're going to say it's your fault.
Black man.
Black man, it's your fault.
Okay.
It is your fault. It is your fault, especially this day and age, because there should be ways for you to always want to improve. There should be ways for you to always want to make more money. There should be ways for you to always want to be a better father, be a better husband, be a better boyfriend. There should be ways. There are ways. You know, it's up to you to be able to figure it out. You just got to figure it out. You got to work a little harder, and that's okay. It's possible. It's doable. So it's your own fault. Systematically, yes, there are things in place to prevent you from winning. However, that don't have to be your reality. That don't have to be what it is. You don't have to just sit back and let these people sit you on your ass and make you believe that you can't get ahead and you can't do more than what you're supposed to be doing, because that's just not true. But moving forward, let us know what y'all think. Let us know what y'all think. I say fuck the system. No, be better fathers, be better husbands, man. Do the right thing. That's the problem. The black men, they don't want to do the right thing.
What they saying up in the comment section? I can't see. What they saying?
It's saying, Mayan, you are on my mental wavelength tonight with the knowledge. Okay.
Appreciate you.
A lot
there.
of people can and won't say that. It's evident with incarceration rates of black men. The NFL is a prime example of the system in America.
Yes,
Some
ma'am.
will not defeat it because they're too busy striving to fit in with it. Okay, and that's their own fault. That makes it their own fault. You are minimalizing thousands of years of trauma. What if this and what if that? There are some people that have beat the system as entertainment, because Jay-Z has an example. Jay-Z was lucky enough. Okay, but there are some people who beat the system outside of entertainment too. So do y'all research. There are plenty of successful black men out here who are living their best lives. So don't do that. Don't do that. But we're going to get on to the next topic. Mayan, you want to take us in the next topic? This might be good for you. You might try to get me back on this one.
So check this out, y'all. Right. Do more kids mean a woman's value is lower?